right, welcome to Season 2 of the Sporting Chance Podcast, your home for all things falconry and unconventional hunting techniques.
This podcast is brought to you by MountainStateFalconrySupply.com. Check out Heather McNeamer's store for your East Coast falconry goods.
And also, this podcast is brought to you by MidnightFalconry.com, the makers of the tightest braided equipment on the market. And let us not forget our boy, Seth Roy, at NorthMountainGoshawks.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast, visit SportingChancePod.com for all of your merch needs.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Sporting Chance Podcast. I am, of course, Aaron Kincaid.
And I'm Casey Everett.
And we are a couple months out from our West Virginia bear hunt with Kirk Price. It was actually, I'm boiling the bear skull as we speak.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from my bear.
That's awesome.
I couldn't believe how much meat was still on the skull.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I just know from doing deer that it's a pain in the neck.
Yeah, it's annoying. But it was kind of therapeutic in a way. I was itching to do something like that this weekend. So scraped all that off, pulled the eyeballs out, pulled the skull, the tongue, dislocated the jaw, got as much meat as I could. I made the little hook to like get up and stir the brain inside of it.
Oh, yeah. Did it smell?
No, it didn't smell. I was thinking of like Imhotep, like the mummy. Like, you know how everybody knows that they stick the little hook up the nose to pull the brain out of a mummy.
Oh, that's disgusting.
So I was reminded of that the whole time, but I did that, boiled it up. I'm not going to have time tonight, but I'm actually going to take my little electric pressure washer and spray it off.
Yeah, it's like there's a woman on Instagram, all social media. She does otters that way. She like she like clamps them with like like if you're doing trim work, they have like those big clamps. Mm-hmm. She like clamps them to like a big giant piece of plywood, and then just power washes all like the flesh. Like she fleshes it with a power washer. It looks so easy. That's the way to do it.
They say it's easy. So this will be the first time I've done that. I'm looking forward to trying. Actually, speaking of otters, today I saw just the most massive otter toilet I've ever seen while out trying to trap beavers. Just like 4x4, like pile of like fish scales and bone. Yeah,
I saw that on your Facebook. And so that I couldn't tell from the picture like what exactly it was in the pile. I could see like debris and stuff. Were they going to the bathroom there, or they were just eating their fish there?
No, they call that the otter toilet. That's where they poop. They'll poop in more or less one spot.
Right.
So this beaver pond I'm trapping must be full of otters, or at least at one time. I'm guessing that it probably would have washed away by now if they weren't actively using it.
I would imagine, yeah. Can't they like be, not to sound like a pansy, but there's plenty of stories of people getting bit up pretty good by otters.
I don't know.
Dude, you're laughing, but you see that girl's face that was tubing? She like ripped her face off.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It sounds like you need your test. You taking your test today?
I think I'm due. I got to go back to my doctor. That's how you know I'm running low. I'm getting emotional. I'm worried about otters, dude. Time for an injection.
I'm focused on beavers this year, and I had half a mind to try and set like a little some pocket sets for the otters once I saw that, but setting traps is hard work, man.
Oh yeah. It's brutal. Yeah, it's brutal.
It's very hard work. So anyway, the Kirk Price episode, we were recording in person, and this would be the second time we've ever recorded in person. So we're still working out the kinks, and the batteries died during the podcast.
Yeah, it was a really good. It was a really good conversation.
Dude,
and then all of a sudden, Aaron like looks over and the light is off on the recording device, and he's like, "Oh no!" He's like, "Hold on," and he like starts fiddling with it. And he goes, "I forgot what you said." You're like, you guys are going to kill me. The batteries died. So then we're like, asking Kirk and his wife for batteries, and like we're trying, like she's taking him out of the remote, like for the TV, and then she ended up finding like a brand new pack somewhere, and then we kind of had to start all over. And Kirk was tired. I mean, that guy. I mean, you got to think, man. Kirk. He burns it from both ends, man. He's up at like 4 a.m. He's loading up like 15 dogs, getting all the collars ready. Like I get annoyed that I gotta get 2 dogs. Well, 1 dog now, but it's like a pain in the neck. I gotta find the remotes. I gotta find the collars. I gotta make sure they're charged. He's got like 15 dogs. And then he's running around the mountains all day long, every day.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Then he comes home and then he's editing all his videos. That takes a lot of time.
I'm sure. Sure.
So you could tell he was getting a little tired. But it was a great conversation though. It was a lot of fun. It's always fun with Kirk. This is his second time on the show.
Yeah, he was a good sport.
Yeah.
So the episode might be a little disjointed. That's why. I think the content's still good though. The conversation was fun. So enjoy.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome again to the Sporting Chance podcast, Kirk.
Thank you all for having me. I'm excited to be on.
We are excited for you to be on. Casey, how are you feeling?
It's like when we pulled into the driveway at the Airbnb, I just looked at Aaron. I said, "Do you realize like the day that we had, the last 2 days that we had, like when have you ever done anything like that or seen anything like that?" It was incredible. It was just I'm literally blown away. It's ridiculous.
And we'll get more into that. We are live from Kirk's living room here in West by God, Virginia.
That's right. Well, I'll say this. I'm glad you all had a good time. Because anytime you invite someone to come hunt, you want them to have a good time. And it sounds like y'all have. So.
Oh, yeah. I think we had a good time.
Yeah, I can
put us on some bears. I think you put us on some bears. You gave us some different styles, some different techniques.
Yep. We got to see a mix of different things, I guess, with hound hunting. So.
Yeah, it was great.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
And then after the hound hunting, we did a little falconry.
That's right.
And the birds more or less got it done.
They did good the second day. The first day was a little bit of a train wreck.
Yeah, but that's obviously not my thing. But I'm going to take up for y'all because it was not very good conditions. Yeah, it was super windy.
It was like tricky cover. The birds were in the truck for 8 hours, then in the truck all day, driving to where we were hunting, and in the truck while we were hunting. And then when I was going to pull it out and she's going to just kill the first thing that she sees and act normal. It was,
It's tough when you travel with a hawk. They're very sensitive.
Yeah.
And he drove 8 or 9 hours. I drove 4 hours. My bird was fine. But anytime I've ever had to make a long trip, my birds need some time to acclimate and get used to things.
Right. And it doesn't help. I mean, there was a ton of people there watching. So that's just another factor.
Yeah, birds are very fickle. Not quite like dogs, but I actually got a question. When you've traveled out west to run lions with your dogs, what's that like coming from the mountains of West Virginia out to, I'm assuming, some sort of high desert?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do the dogs need time to adjust, or do they just get to it?
They pretty much just get to it. And maybe that, I mean, but we've been out there multiple times and have been doing it for years, and now have taken the same dogs multiple times. So the traveling doesn't really seem to bother them. I guess they're just gotten used to it. But I can't say also that it ever bothered them whenever, the very first trip. And maybe that's just because they get hauled around in the truck for so much hunting, they're kind of used to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't, I haven't noticed that we have to acclimate them to the, I guess the traveling.
Was it about 20 hours for you to get to
20, anywhere, depending on what state we're in, 20 to 30 hours.
It's a brutal trip with animals.
Yeah. I have learned, if I remember correctly, like 99% sure, Love's has dog parks at their gas station. So we try to stop at Love's because they've all got a little fenced in area, and we'll just drop the tailgate.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
It's a good pro tip.
Yeah, that's a great pro tip.
That's good. Yeah.
Because then you're not walking around in a little strip of grass or whatever. There is a lot of cleanup usually because we've got a whole pack of hounds.
That little pen.
And we don't, we want our own pen because we don't want 8 hounds in there with a poodle or whatever. Not that they would do anything to it, but you know, the owner of that poodle is not going to be too happy probably.
No. But I think we should go back and start in the beginning. Like for those who don't know.
Yeah. So
who's Kirk Price? What is Kirk Price?
What makes him tick?
What makes him tick?
That means they didn't click on the first podcast I was on here.
No, I'm just filling everybody in.
Right. So I'm I guess I'm a YouTuber. I'm a hunter first.
I'll say you're a professional hunter.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
I like hunting a mix of everything, and filming it to make it, you know, short and sweet. And I got a YouTube channel. It's just under my name, Kirk Price. So
yeah, hunts everything. Does it all. Does barred owl hoots, turkey calls with his mouth with no reed in there, whatever.
I'm a mountain man.
He's legitimately.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of the examples of that, but I would say that you, based on what I know about you, you're primarily a bear hunting houndsman. Correct.
That's what I'm, I guess, known for the most, and I am. But I do take pride in being just a well-rounded outdoorsman. But the number one driver, I guess, for my content and videos, and like I said, what I'm known for is the bear hunting. And I probably do more of that just because of West Virginia's training season. We can train all year long. So spring, we start training. Right. Usually I like to start right after turkey season, just to give the turkey hunters a break and kind of let the bears get out and move around before we start, pursuing them. And so that's where a bulk of my content and my videos come from, all spring and summer. And then we go into the fall, do some deer hunting, and then it's bam, right back into the December bear season, which is what we're doing today.
So what were your impressions of falconry?
I'm so embarrassed by at least for me, my bird, like, it was just like, it was, go ahead.
So
Kirk,
for anyone not aware, Casey's hypercritical of himself, and he should be.
Yeah, it wasn't the first day we went out and it was not pretty. So
no, just general. You've seen falconry videos. What's it like to see it in person?
It was like, I really didn't know what to expect, because I feel like whenever I watch like an Instagram reel per se, it's a highlight. Like, I know there's way more that goes into it than that, just being an outdoorsman, because I know with my own videos, if I put up a reel, short, whatever, it's always something like the coolest part. So there's so much more to it. And just, I figured the birds would be finicky. I kind of figured that. I mean, that's what you would expect out of a bird, but I guess my first impressions was like, I would definitely do it again. I had a blast, especially on the squirrels. Now I wasn't, for whatever reason, I should have known better. I wasn't dressed appropriately for the rabbit hunting. And that's just not having the right pants on and stuff like that to push through the briars. So that wasn't the funnest part. Not that I didn't mind it. I mean, we were right there, but I definitely enjoyed the squirrel hunting. Like, that was just a blast.
Yeah, squirrel hawking's exciting. Or I don't know, even for falconers, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. You can't go wrong.
You get to see it all play out in front of your eyes with a rabbit. The rabbits, you may not see the rabbit running at all. You may just see the bird take off and fly and then hit the ground, and then you hear the squeal, and then it caught it.
Right. Versus the squirrel hunting, we got to see it like going around the tree, chasing it. Like, it flew right down to my feet. We got to see the whole process.
Like, it was one of those things, like, you can't, like, we said it on another episode, doing the RFK Don Jr. thing, where Harrison's bird chased a squirrel over their heads, and like, you couldn't have it any more perfect. It was like, Kirk's there to see it. He's got his camera. He wants to get some good footage, and the squirrel goes around the tree, lands on the ground, runs straight up the hill towards Kirk with the goshawk right behind it, throwing its feet out, trying to grab it. It was great. It was fun.
Right.
Yeah. Falconry has a bad rap by some people for not really being a legitimate hunting sport. What do you think about that?
Be honest with us.
I don't. I mean, it's more so because we could have just shook a couple vines and then just shot the squirrel with a gun. I mean, instead, you all have trained hawks that are, at that point being released. It would have been a lot easier and, I guess, less hunting, just shooting them. And I mean, my opinion,
right?
Like, I'm more impressed with. I think it's much tougher and more sporting. Plug in the podcast,
sporting chance,
right? to do what you are doing. Like, I thought that was super cool because there's a few times I'm like, somebody just shoot it, you know?
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking from my perspective.
Like, there's just literally, there was 2 in one tree and 1 in another tree, like 10 yards from each other. We could have went
3 for 3, but that's why you all enjoy doing it. You enjoy working the birds, working your dogs. And I understand it from that. Being a houndsman, I understand it for that. Cause you are asking, I think one of y'all asked me about like, have you killed a bear or do you how many bears have you killed or whatever? And I haven't killed a bear this year. But it doesn't matter to me at all. I would rather bring people along like you all brought me along to watch your hawks work and just enjoy it and just work the animal,
Watch the animals work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tree a bear with your hounds and just walk up and do like a finger gun and go, all right, that could have been you.
Yeah.
Today's your lucky day. Right.
Right. And that's what I get to do all spring and summer when we're
and we went to a newer spot, not the same spot we were at.
Right.
Okay. And then we had like a little powwow in the parking lot.
Yep. Kind of put together a little game plan.
And then you gave your dog, like you're saying.
Yep. Trace said, I'm going to take some dogs and go walk them.
And you went up on top.
And he went up on top.
Which is like the top of like, I guess.
Top of a strip mine.
Okay.
Okay. And we're under the strip mine. There's some timber. You got the strip mine on the top. You got timber under it. And then you got a couple big hollers. And we drive back in one of those hollers. And I'm tracking him. I know the area he's going to. So I've got my dogs on my Garmin handheld hooked up to a long range antenna so I can track them miles and miles away. We're roughly a mile under him. And Trace, he says he's going to take him down in there. So we're just tracking, waiting for him to get on one. And, we haven't touched that area this year. So we were pretty confident of finding one pretty quickly. And it didn't take long for them to take off, start trailing one.
And then, so we were waiting on the bottom in case because if we spin out and get up there with him when he says he's on one,
right
now we're of no use to him because we're at the same level as he is. So we tried to work together and stay low, use the lower trails to try to get in front of the bear and then turn. The point was to turn fresh dogs loose
right
when they push it down.
Right. It was one to guard in case it heads towards a busy road.
Right.
That was the biggest thing. But then also I had some dogs in the box. If they're having trouble catching it for whatever reason, or we just get the opportunity to cut them in, then I can be down there to add dogs to it and kind of manage things low because you can't get from the top to the bottom quickly.
Right.
So there's only 2 of us there. One of us needs to be high. One of us needs to be low. And it was kind of like he stayed high all day and I covered low all day. We didn't plan that, but that's how it ended up working out.
Yeah. And when he texted you, or I think on the radio, he said, I'm cutting them loose. I think they're on one.
Yep.
And what time was that?
7:30.
7:30 roughly.
Yeah. Yeah, roughly, give or take.
Roughly, right. So this is 7:30 in the morning. So I'm just trying to paint the picture because people I don't think I didn't realize. That thing, they pushed that bear or a bear, or it could have been multiple bears, but they were working a track from 7:30 and then all hell broke loose. And then it all ended.
Around what time? 12:30 was it?
12:30, something like that. Yeah. So these dogs are on the ground hauling ass up and down these mountains that we're describing.
Right.
For like 5 hours.
Right. So
straight.
They're cold trailing it for the first 4 hours. And they cold trailed it for close to 10 miles. Probably that's being very conservative.
Yeah.
Over 10 miles. I mean, it was unbelievable how much trailing they did. This bear was on the move. We do think it may have switched off at one point to a different bear. We're not positive. But that's kind of, it doesn't really matter. They were cold trailing for a very, very, very long time. And like, I'm waiting for the track to get hotter and hotter and they're still trailing. And they're actively moving it. There was a couple times they slowed down for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and they were having trouble with it, but then they'd get it lined out and we keep going.
Yeah. And this is all, when he's describing this, we're not like seeing them up on the mountain. Sometimes we are. A couple of little moments here and there, we could see him up there and hear him.
Right.
This is all like on the Garmin where we're like trying to figure out what's going on based off of the way each dog's signal is working.
Right.
And So every time I cough, Aaron looks at me. I got a tickle in my throat, people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you've had to hurt it by now. I mean, she's probably a good editor. I don't know if she's that good though.
It's just tickling me, man. I don't know what to do. I got whatever. So
it's like anytime we record live and in person, last time we did it, we both had a cough.
We both had a cough. Yeah, we're looking at each other every time we would cough.
Yeah. Well, Casey brought his. I haven't started the cough yet, but he's definitely brought the sickness to me.
I don't even think I'm sick. I think it's just like it's just a sinus infection.
That's called a Yankee hello.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not sick, bro. I just have the sinus thing and I'm coughing. It's not a problem.
Sinus infection is different than being like sick, where you're like.
This has been a debate for 2 days. So y'all gonna have to comment. Can you leave a comment on a podcast?
Probably.
Yeah, you can leave it on Spotify.
You got the YouTube people don't really listen there. They listen on Spotify and Apple.
Yeah.
That's our biggest. Okay, so then like all hell broke loose. I know why we had to do it, but I don't really know why.
Okay.
They were trailing up over this. Like I was looking at this mountain, and I'm like, if they tree it up there after yesterday, and me having, I'm like, and we have to go up that. It was like triple what we had to go up, like what we went up the day before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if they tree it up there, like they're gonna like.
It was from the base of the mountain to the top of the mountain was close to a mile, straight line,
straight up.
We would have to zig and zag and gain so much elevation. It's insane.
Yeah, but then when they go up, if they push the bear up over the top of that and then down, it enters into a different area.
A different area that we can't access. There's no road into there without going all the way around. So that's why we, at the beginning of the podcast, referred to going from side by side to pickup truck, and it was too. I mean, I'll drive my side by side on the hard road for a long ways. It's common in this area. I mean, you all saw it today. How many side by sides we see riding on the hard road?
It's fun. I love
all over the place.
I love seeing that.
Right, but it was so far that it's like a 20-minute drive one way, going 70 miles an hour in a pickup truck.
Right, to get around, to then get in there and try to find where they are.
To get to where the base to where it starts, not even to get to them.
Yeah.
So right. So I was like, okay, let's just leave the side by side and trailer right here. Throw the dogs in the pickup truck because I've got a dog box and stuff in there. We'll get in the pickup truck, go around. And this time we get irritated because I do not like doing that. Like that's annoying.
Yeah.
I really like to hunt areas that have really good access and you can get around because it's just so much more convenient. But like of course they go to that spot that's just going to get on your nerves because you can't get to the dogs. It's a nightmare. You got to go all the way around. And of course it happens on the day where there's only 2 of us.
Right. Not a lot of hands on deck.
If there's more guys, there's obviously more help there. So it's not that big a deal. Somebody can go cover it, but that wasn't the case today.
So then we get in the truck, drive around, and then it was like a miracle because you have the radio, and the radio is connected to a big antenna in the side-by-side that goes real far.
Yeah.
So then you unscrewed it, screwed the regular antenna on, jumped in the pickup, and then we fly out, we get in the highway, we're going like 70, 80. And then all of a sudden it like crackles in.
Yeah. Tracy's like, turn around.
Yeah. Turn around. And they're like, and then we just spun a U-turn, and like, it was like a miracle that we even heard him because we were like on the other side of the mountain.
Yeah. I still don't know how we heard him, but it managed to come through that we did not need to go around there. And if we wouldn't have heard that, we would have wasted close to an hour, 20
minutes there. And then we would have realized nothing's going on, 20 minutes back.
Yep. So we hurried up, got back, put the dogs back in the side by side. So that made the 3rd time that day loading. No, because I loaded them at my house.
Yeah.
And then I let them out and then loaded them again to hunt. So that was like the 4th or 5th time that day I had loaded the dogs up.
It's a little bit of a chore to load them.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Because they're like, you put them out of one box and they think like, oh, it's time to go do something. Then you're immediately throwing them in another box. They're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know? So we get in there and finally they have the bear jumped. And when I'm watching the Garmin. Casey's asking, Casey's coaching me, telling me we need to move forward.
Well, I'm looking like they're talking. We're on the road. All the vehicles are off. And I'm like half in the side by side, half out. And then I'm looking at the screen and I see, what was the dog's name?
Wilson.
Wilson is the man. He's the MVP. And Bliss and Ellie.
Yep.
They were monsters today, like ridiculous. And you just see them all the way back in that impenetrable area like we're talking about, and they're just on a line with each other, but spaced apart because they're getting tired at this point. Mm-hmm. And Wilson is the younger male in
peak shape and peak performance at the perfect age right now.
And so you could see a blue line with the road that we're sitting on.
Yeah.
And then you could see the topography coming down to the road. And then I see Wilson
coming.
And to me, it doesn't look that far. And I see him plotting his way down on the screen. And I'm like, dude, I don't know anything, but I think the bear's going to run across the road. I feel like we should and you're like, it's all right.
I said like, okay, Riley.
Yeah.
Riley had gave me some advice. We needed to do something earlier. And I just asked her if she would like to drive.
Yeah. That was
I
funny.
was joking, obviously.
Yeah.
And that was obviously joking towards you.
No.
But if you noticed, our timing was perfect. Because the bear, when we did go up there, you want to stay away from them. Like, basically when a dog's going to cross in front of you, if you pull up and like the dog crosses the track and you're sitting on the track perpendicular, and let's say the bear's already crossed or whatever it is, you can mess that dog up and just make it difficult. I like the dog to cross, my dogs to see him cross. That way they know what direction. Because if there's a hot bear track there, you wouldn't believe how many times like people would dump a box, including myself, done it many times, and all the dogs go backwards.
Right. They run the scent backwards.
They run backwards because they just hit the scent and go the opposite way. And it takes them, by that point, they're going, we don't let them go far. We'll obviously immediately start screaming our heads off. No, you're going the wrong way. And it's embarrassing. And then your dogs are doing it. So it causes your buddy's dogs to go that way too. And it just turns into a crapshoot. So like letting the dog cross cleanly, but we didn't even have to do that because we saw the bear. And the dogs that I had up on the rig saw the bear, and then they immediately went for it. And when I let them out, when the bear crosses, I run to the bear with the dogs, and they know I'm going to take them the right direction.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there, but that's why we stayed back and let them cross cleanly and just watch.
Yeah, I just remember this whole just think about you want the hunt to be successful, and you're in the vehicle for 4.5, 5 hours. And then all of a sudden it's like, there's a bear right there. Yeah. The dogs are jumping and they're going ballistic. And then you see the bear going up the mountain and he turned around and he's trying to fight with them. I think he fought with him a little later, but he wasn't, why was that? Like, he didn't want to go in a tree at all. It was she.
Yeah. So bears are just, are the way I describe it. And I've described it many times this way. Bears are like people. Some guys look tough. They're big guys, muscular, and they're kind of like Casey. They're really not that tough. No,
they can't go up a mountain.
I'm just kidding.
They have a heart attack going up a mountain.
No, I'm just kidding. What I'm saying is they might walk around or a guy that doesn't look that impressive, but if you pick a fight with him, you've picked with the wrong guy. So the bears are the same way. Like, they just have different attitudes. Some of them are meaner than others. Some of them don't want to climb. You don't know what you're going to get. Like the biggest bear we killed this year got in a tree.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the smallest bear we've killed this year or let go of, whatever it is, don't get in a tree. Yeah. So you don't know what you're going to get. But most of the time, the bigger the bear, the less likely they are to get in a tree.
Okay.
Most of the time. But that's not always the case.
Right.
So yeah, this bear was not interested in going in a tree. He was just walking with the dogs, would stop. They would pop up, treat on the Garmin, but we knew they weren't just because of the way it was acting.
Yeah.
And you can tell by the sound. Like when I get out side by side, I can tell you if they're treat or bait just by how the bark sound.
Right.
Yeah. He was not going in a
a tree, no matter what. No matter if you put 200 dogs on him, he was not going in a tree.
Yeah. It was bizarre to me.
Had every opportunity to do it.
Yep.
Just wouldn't do it.
Yeah. There's even I saw so we cut them and then they're going up and there's two mountains and a valley, but there's a big drainage in the middle that's real deep. And they were walking the edge of that. And I didn't know, but there's a trail on the other side. So then we're flying around to try to get to the trail. And then when we get to the trail, you could we were like we said, 100 yards, but it was a little more than 100 yards.
Yeah, that was a little bit wider holler.
How deep do you think that was down there?
150 yards.
I'm probably 60 feet down there, 80 feet.
Deep. Well, it depends on what part you're in. The further you go up, obviously,
it gets shallower.
Yeah,
but it was something that you wouldn't want to run down and run out the other side and try to get on the bear. It's it would take you an hour. Right. Maybe not for Kirk.
Well, I've learned from when bears are on the ground, the worst thing you can do is chase them.
That was my initial instinct was to try to get in there,
right,
and like do something,
right.
Like, what am I going to do?
And it's just going to keep the bear moving. Now, I get in situations where I'm not near a side-by-side truck or anything, and that's your only option. The video I just uploaded, like we're just literally walking behind the bear and keep bumping it. Like as we get closer, the bear just takes off again.
Right. So he's stopping.
Right.
Fighting
with the bears. Yeah, and you're just gutting yourself trying to do that. But you can get in there and get them killed that way, but it's not the best way to do it if you have your side-by-side close by or truck, whatever it is. It's just more effective to like be patient and wait for the right opportunity.
Because eventually the bear is going to get tired.
It's going to get tired, and what goes up must come down, and he ain't going to keep going up if he's tired. Just like if you wouldn't want to. Like imagine if you were getting chased, you wouldn't want to go down.
Dude, I'd be dead after like the first holler. I get halfway up the first hill.
The dogs they would stretch you immediately.
They'd stretch me out good. That sounded bad. Anyway, moving on. But it was like for me, right? I was on deck, and you were nice enough to say, "Okay, you could shoot the next one." And the whole thing, I'm just so grateful to be there. But like, I know that I'm technically the next guy that's going to shoot if we get the opportunity. So like, your emotions, like it's going up and up and up, and the road is a dead end. And they're going, and you see them start to crest the top of the hill. Yeah. Then we go back, and then
I'm telling my buddy, I said, if this thing's not going to tree, and with the bear, it's not going to tree. And I apologize for cutting you off.
No,
but I just think this needs to be said because you're talking about your emotions, and I'm sure your emotions. When I get on the radio, I said, if you get the opportunity, you need to take care of it, which means you need to kill it.
Yeah, and my heart sunk.
Yeah, I knew it hurt you. And then
it's the right thing to do, though.
It is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And then I told you earlier into that, like when it was just I didn't know how it was going to play out. I told you, and I always just try to prepare the person because I don't want them like, I can't believe you did that. I said I may have to kill this one.
Yeah,
and that's not because I don't think you're or anyone is an efficient shooter, whatever it is, but. You understand it.
It's your dogs.
It's my dogs.
Bears on the ground rolling around with them. They're moving around it. Like you can't have some random guy.
Right. Some
just
dude
like
from New Jersey.
Just pumping rounds down range. Yeah. Some random guy that might be Italian, maybe from New York. Who knows? Coming down here, killing one of my dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So you said that to me, and that part I was like, dude, I get it. Because at that point we saw the bear like. Yeah. He was stopping and fighting with them and swinging at him and trying to grab him. And they were moving, and then he would keep going. So I'm like, it's getting a little hairy now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if I'd feel comfortable trying.
Right.
You know? And then it went up, and then it just came down after. Why do you think it came back down?
It just kept getting steeper as it was going up and up and up, just getting steeper and steeper and steeper. You know, it starts kind of gradual at the bottom. And then as you keep getting higher, the more vertical it gets.
Yeah.
And then it kind of swung into the holler. When it swung into the holler, I was like, it's a good sign it's going to come back off.
Right.
Because it was still high. It wasn't angling down when I went ahead and left. Because we tried to go high as it was going high.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we probably need to go off. This thing's turning into the holler.
Yeah, you stopped. I remember we went around to go try to, when I saw it going up and kind of disappearing, we jumped back in, flew all the way back down there, which is like half the fun of it. And the crazy part is like flying around these roads.
Yeah.
And then we go all the way around and go up. And then you get halfway up and you look at the Garmin and you're like, no, we got to turn around. I got to go back down.
And I'm just predicting.
Yeah.
Like I'm just making an educated guess.
Yeah, that was like based spot on too.
Right.
Because we couldn't even get down to the bottom fast enough. And then he already pretty much went across again, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We got down there fast enough, but then I gambled and we went around to where they were stopped.
Right.
Because it was like going to be a 500-yard walk straight up to them. And it was just, once again, it was going to do something else. Like if we'd have came in from the bottom, we would have made it go somewhere else. So I was like, let's just go around the side by side. We pulled in about 100 yards to them. We made a move. I think, it was too close.
Yeah, he heard us or didn't.
Something, right. Because then he really busted out of there, went into the bottom. And that's when we took off around through there again.
Yeah. So now just think of it. All of us were like, the Garmin says we're 100 feet away from, or whatever it was. We were like right there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just starts, all the dogs start going down the mountain.
Yeah.
Now we're like trying to like turn this thing around, fly all the way back around because we know it's going to go back down across the main road, but it's not a road, but like, and then go back up into the mountains again.
Mm-hmm. The main trail.
Then we went down, and then by the time we got down there, it was already down, cross the stream, and then up, like kind of like on an angle above us. We could kind of see everything. Yeah, which was crazy.
Yep, you could look across and see. And Casey was running like a wild man.
Yeah.
He was excited. I love seeing the passion for it. Like I could see how excited you were.
I was amped.
You were,
but I wasn't possessed.
No,
because there's possessed and there was amped. I was
just
amped.
Crying.
No, but like I was amped, but I knew what your biggest concern was.
Right.
So I knew that, and that's why I kept saying, whatever you tell me. You just tell me what to do. Right. I'm not going to be some crazy psychopath because people get crazy.
Yeah.
They go nuts.
Right.
When
in a tense situation.
They want to be like, they just get possessed and they just start shooting.
Right.
So I wanted to make you know that I'm not going to do that. Like I'm excited, but I'm not like going crazy.
Right.
And there was a couple times I think I could have plugged her as it was like when it went down in that little gully and they were kind of separate from each other. I was like, I probably could have snuck one in there.
Right.
But you said, no, wait.
We'll get in a better spot. No reason to rush it.
Yeah.
No reason to rush it.
Yeah. Because I thought it was going to keep going up the hill.
Yeah.
But then you could see the bear was like winded.
Yeah.
And then we just basically, what did we do? We just
paralleled it. And we ended up getting back into side by side and kind of watching it for a second and going, staying with it, slightly behind it because I don't want it paying attention to us. I want it to keep working down.
Right.
And then it gets down and I see it break down. So I said, let's get out of here. And we start slipping up through there.
Yeah.
And I knew you were wanting to get out ahead of it again. And I said, no, come back. I'm the really men.
Yeah.
Stay here. And then I see it go, break down to the low point of the creek.
Yeah.
And it got in the creek there. And
once it was in the creek, that's when I was like, I think there's a very big chance that like we're going to get this bear.
Yeah.
And then at one point I was like trying to get a view from here and Kirk, like, I don't know if you've ever seen those safari like videos where like the stupid like dentist that wants to kill like an elephant and you see like the guide grab him by their collar and like jerk him over. He literally pulled like the dentist in Africa, grabbed me by my shirt and he's like, no, right here, move over. And I'm like, okay. And then you're like, and then I forget, it was like a pause. And you're like, you just said, I said, if you think you can get him,
I said, can you shoot it in his head?
And I said, yes.
Yes. And it was clear enough from the dogs. I wasn't worried unless he was like the worst shot on earth. And that was the last shot he'd ever take around me.
Yeah. I think I would have been in there.
Right. I mean, if I, obviously I knew you're a tenured sportsman.
Yeah, I'm around.
So
I made sure to tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not that like I'm, you just want to let the guy know that I'm not like, not my first time running around with a gun.
You can let me know or not. I'm going to pick up on it.
Right.
So,
yeah. So then you said,
I said, can you get one in his head? Something along the lines of that. Can you take a clean headshot? I
said yes.
Right. Because if you shoot him in the lungs, he's going to have fight in him. The dogs are going to grab him, which is immediately what happened. As soon as you shot, they jumped on the bear.
Yeah.
Immediately. And, they know that bear's been shot and they're just going to pile on it. And you executed a perfect shot to the back of its head. And that was night.
Just when I thought you couldn't get more red, Casey.
Dude, it just keeps getting redder. It goes to like another level. It turns like neon red.
Yeah, and I do have to apologize. The collar grab was a little aggressive, but it was necessary for the moment.
Yeah. No, it's your dogs on the ground. I'm the guy with the gun. It's your responsibility to put me where you need me to be.
Yep.
To take the best shot. Yep. If I'm even going to take the shot.
Right.
And if you were, and I was ready for it. If you said, "Give me the gun," I would have immediately just handed it right to you.
In the past, I probably like as I've gotten more experience with it. Before, I would always want to take the gun and just take the shot,
right?
Because I just don't trust people. Because my biggest fear is getting a dog killed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, like I told y'all earlier that day, it's like, or maybe it was yesterday. One bear is not worth one dog.
No,
ever to me. I mean, there was always another bear to get after, but you spend so much time, there's 3 of them in the house with us tonight that sleep in the bed with me. The last thing I want to do is lose a dog, but it presented the right, it just happened to work out perfect to where the dogs were they were staying kind of back from it, just enough room. And you were able to take a quick, clean shot.
Yeah, it was. I think, and I had the 270 with me, model 700 with a 4x8 scope on it, and then I had my dad's family heirloom he gave. It's not like a nice shotgun; it's just a pump shotgun, but it's old and like it's sentimental.
Mm-hmm.
And
What's he call that shotgun?
My dad calls it the Little Bear.
Isn't that funny?
It's carved into the handle, Little Bear.
No way.
Yeah. And that's what we shot.
Yeah.
Little Bear. And Aaron always likes to make a joke like,
yeah, I found it on the back of the bus, you prick. His dad was a bus driver.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because y'all mentioned that earlier. I was going to ask, how did he find that shotgun?
On the back of the bus, you prick.
Yeah. No, and I just think if I had the 270, it would have been a harder shot for me personally.
Yeah, where it's a close quarter shot and stuff. I would rather have an open sight gun too. Was it? I'm sure assuming you have a scope on the 270.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not that a scope wouldn't work there, but
No.
I like those open sights so you can see the surroundings a lot better.
And the shotgun. It's just like you just put the bead on it and just
Boom.
you know where it's going.
Yep.
At that range, it wasn't far.
Right.
I mean, I was impressed with myself, but it wasn't a hard shot, really.
No,
Well,
you did great.
yeah, that's
There's a lot
easy.
of pressure, though.
Yeah, that's easy to say, but I mean, there is a lot, like you said, the intensity of the moment, the pressure. You got a camera over your shoulder. Some guy's
Yeah.
grabbing you by your collar,
Yeah.
saying, "Shoot it."
You got a dozen dogs running around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dogs, I was more concerned about the dogs than anything else. I was more concerned where my muzzle was pointed the entire time and whether the safety was on, and then where those dogs were. And
Right.
that was just because, I run dogs. So it's like, if something happened to my dog, I'd be so upset.
Yep.
Like I'm not, and I agree with you. I'm
Depends on
here.
the
I
dog.
drove here. I bought my tag, but I'm not going to put your dog in
Right.
jeopardy just to get a bear. I mean, I want a bear, but
So-
no way.
And then after that, we flew the birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been quite a couple days, and I do have exciting news for you two. Apparently, it wasn't recording when we talked about my bear.
Was it?
No, so when the battery went out, I turned it on and didn't hit record. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, so we got to talk about Aaron's bear.
Yeah. Summary was we hiked up and down a mountain.
No, we got to talk about it again. I know it's tiresome to do it. But
Yeah. This is amateur hour. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
No, it certainly is. We're
tired.
so the whole free casting thing, we didn't get that on.
No, we didn't get that on. So we
We'll just run through it like quickly. Not quickly, like rushing it, but like more.
Right.
Okay.
So let's go back. So Thursday, first day. Friday, our first day. I was to be one of the first people to shoot a bear because I've never had the opportunity. So Kirk graciously put me, I don't know what the right word is for it, but Kirk free cast his dogs.
Yep. So we hadn't hunted that area yet. We've hunted the general area, not that specific spot. And I just had a good feeling that, if we got down in there, we walked far enough and sent the dogs that direction, we'd come out with a bear. And, that's exactly what happened. It was a short story because it was a short hunt,
Yeah.
but I mean, there was more to it. You want to get into like the booger bark and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get down in there and Casey notices brother is, which is one of my best trail dogs how would you describe it?
I just saw him and he just looked like a very big version of Ginger when she's getting hot.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it was. Tail
Right.
whipping back and forth and the nose just like pinned to the ground.
You can tell.
And I'm like, he looks pretty excited over there. I don't know,
Looks like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, I said, I said, Kirk, I don't know what I'm looking at, but he looks kind of excited. What do you think?
yeah.
And you're like, he does kind of look excited.
Right. His tail's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. His nose is on the ground. If we were next to him, I can imagine what it would sound like because I've been right next to him. And in that situation, it sounds like a vacuum cleaner. He's just sniff, 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 sniff. It's ridiculous. He's sniffing as hard and as fast as possible, trying to pick up every ounce of scent possible. And I just thought that was interesting. I was like, well, there's something going on over there. And whether a bear had fed around on that hillside or what, it's tough to say. But the rest of the dogs go over there to it, and we hear an interesting bark that, well, you described as a booger bark, and that's exactly what it was. Yeah, it was. It's just it's a type of bark that a hound or dog will make whenever something's like, I don't know how to describe it, but something's just a little off. Like it's not their typical bark, like almost concerned.
Right. And for us with little dogs, when we hear that, we just start sprinting in that direction.
Yeah.
Because, if it's a coyote,
right.
Yeah.
Someone's dog loose.
It's like an alarm bark.
Yeah.
A booger would be like a wood booger, which would be like a monster,
right,
basically.
And this dog that booger barked, it would just cut me off guard because I can tell just by the sound what dog it was. And then my Leica, which is 6 months old, immediately. And well, here's a great point. A Leica does not bark until it catches.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
interesting.
they don't open on a track. They don't open on a cold track or anything. So they was looking at that bear.
Yeah. So do you think the bear was sitting there?
It was bedded down, and that's
they came
why
up on it, and
they
there
came
was a standoff.
They came right up on it, and that's where the booger bark came from. It surprised that dog.
Right.
The dog was not expecting just to come up on a bear. They did. I mean, yeah, they could smell where something had been around there, but they weren't really trailing it. Who knows how long the bear had been bedded there? What the conditions were. If it walked in the other way, who knows? Maybe it was coincidence. And there had been a bear there feeding close by, and that's a totally different bear than what brother was smelling. Your guess is as good as mine. But regardless, it sounded a little funny. And then I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's my 6-month-old dog that barked twice. But now, like, when you, I guess, have time to reflect on it, and the Leica is a new dog for me. I just started hunting him this December. I mean, he's 6 months old. And he doesn't bark unless he catches. And I learned that from the guy I got him from who hunts Leicas.
Right.
Those dogs are silent until they catch it. So he was obviously looking at it. And then it got up out of its bed, took off, and the rest of the dogs got in there, could hear them barking, and they caught it, roughly 300 yards later up on the ridge.
Perfect.
300 yards for them, not 300 yards for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they were 300 yards away from us, but we had a lot of, that was straight line, like as a crow flies. We had a lot of
topography to work through.
Yeah.
And it was brutal.
Straight up and down a mountain.
Yep.
Yeah.
So much so that you got to grab saplings like to get up. Right. Like, so you're not lit. You can't, there's parts obviously where you can walk, you lean forward and walk, but there's the majority of it is you're grabbing saplings along the way to pull yourself up.
And you're walking on like the sides of your feet, like just taking clean steps because it's so vertical. It's tough on your knees and joints and everything. And you just got to go though. You don't have another option.
And Kirk's like a billy goat. He just walked right up it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like gasping for breath and like clawing at the earth. And Kirk is just like, just walking up the side of this hill, like not stopping.
Legolas and Lord of the Rings walking on the snow.
Walking on the snow. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it opened my eyes to how out of shape I am for something like that.
Right. Well, yeah. And it just comes back to the terrain, like me being in the terrain all the time. If I'm with guys that also hunt the terrain, they're right there. Yeah. Right there with me. But it's the terrain. Like if you all were hunting in that type of terrain, you'd get used to it too.
Yeah, you get used to it.
At one point you said, if I lose you guys, just get to the road and stay there. And I was like, oh, hell no, you're not losing me. I don't care.
I said through gasps of breath, I said, why Kirk, you think we can't, we're out of shape or something? As we're like dying, I was being sarcastic. Like, I'm like, why? We look tired back here? As I'm like holding onto a little sapling with like all my strength.
Right.
Yeah, it was bad. I started panicking a little bit. I said,
a lot of times, and I don't have them charged up. I don't know where they're at, but I give guests spare radios because I've lost people before.
Really?
Lost camera guys. Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't going to lose me. There was no way I was going to let that happen.
For sure. I'm too prideful. I would have stroked out before I lost you. You would have just saw me rolling down the hill like one of the bears.
Yeah.
After you hit it. Yeah. So we get up the hill, we get in position. Well, first somebody was nice enough that when we got finally to the top, there was a road, thank God. And then somebody one of your buddies came by, swung by, we jumped in.
Yep.
Flew down to where the bear was treed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aaron was able to get in there. And then Aaron, you could talk about your...
Kirk's friend was gracious enough to give me some pointers about what he thought I needed to do. He handed me his gun, which I had felt pretty weird about that. We brought guns and Kirk told us just to leave them.
Yes.
So handed me his gun, put the round in, told me apparently he said safety's on. I thought he said safety's off, and I'm sitting there and I'm like pulling the trigger as hard as I can. I'm like, my God, what the heck is, and I was like, oh, so that was like the one L that I took there.
See, I didn't know that. That's news to me too.
Yeah.
I'm transparent. I
was proud of you though, because you didn't jerk.
No, I mean,
usually when you see somebody with the safety,
100%,
they go like this, and they go, oh, the safety's on. You go, you jerked. You were going to make a bad shot anyway.
Right. And the best way to get out of that is, or get people out of that is when you're at a range or something and they're just shooting, act like you load it and then let them shoot just a blank shot. Yeah. And watch how they'll quickly figure out, wow, they may not think so because of the boom and whatever. They don't realize they're jerking and jumping, but
the shot should surprise you.
Right. Right. And if you have someone go load the gun for you and you don't look, and then that's a good way to get out of it. Basically, I've done that with kids, trying to teach them to shoot. It's like, okay, let's relax. Let's just shoot a few rounds without not actually shooting rounds. Let you get comfortable with it. And then we drop one in there. Boom. Oh, that wasn't that bad. Yeah.
I'm not a super gun guy. I grew up with guns around at all times. Got my first gun when I was 5. Chipmunk. You ever heard of a chipmunk rifle?
Yeah.
Still have it. I'm going to give it to my daughter.
Nice.
But I mean, I'm not like Casey did target practice, like competitive
target practice,
whatever the hell it is. Competitive shooting,
trap shooter target practice. Are you kidding me? How insulting.
He kind of said it in a condescending way too.
Yeah, he did. He was a little jab.
But my point being is I'm a decent shot. Yeah. I've been around guns my whole life, but I'm not a gun guy.
I'm the same way.
I own several guns, but I'm not crazy. I'm not a crazy gun nut. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I preface all that by saying I'm a decent shot, and he was gracious enough to hand me the gun, and he told me to shoot it in the neck, and which I wasn't prepared for that. I just assumed I'd be shooting it in the vitals.
Yeah.
And
I normally give that speech as far as like, and where I guess where you shot it was kind of like the base of the head neck area, not like the long part of the neck or anything like that. We really like to shoot him in the head, but the kind of the angle of the bear that just wasn't appropriate because it was looking away, kept turning his head away, and it gave you an opportunity to shoot it at the base. Well, not the base of its neck, the top of its neck where it meets the head, and then it exited out the top of its head.
Well, the base of the neck, like towards the body, that'd be a bad shot. Right. I would assume. Right. Yeah.
I think that's what I said earlier. That's what I was trying to correct. Not the base of the neck, the top of the neck.
Yeah. That would be that because they got a huge neck.
Right.
Like that's thick.
Well, I know just from deer hunting, like I've got photos of a deer this year that was shot perfect broadhead hole, 3-blade, fixed blades, what it looks like. Broadhead through the big, thick part of the neck. You would look at it, it's centered up perfect. But the deer survived. I mean, I got tons of trail cam pics of it.
Did you see that one floating around?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't shoot it. I just got it on camera, but it was so obvious because I had photos of the deer leading up to it. And then all of a sudden he comes in one day and he's got a broadhead print in his neck.
That's crazy.
They got a big muscular neck.
Yep. And it was centered up like perfect. Like if you saw it, you would think, okay, he probably killed that. Nope.
Wow.
Nuts. So I would recommend not shooting them in the neck.
No, deer are so tough. So are bear. I just got to talk about it because there was that video floating around Instagram. Did you see that one of the guy shooting the buck in the neck in slow motion, and then it's just like, oh, it's nuts.
Oh yeah, it's just spraying blood.
Oh, it just starts like spraying. It was crazy.
I haven't seen it.
No, it was good. Like it's a risky shot. I don't know if I would take that shot in a deer with a bow.
Yeah, I mean, what we said
on a gun. Yeah,
we've talked about this all weekend, but the bear most situations, the bear's in a tree, so you got the luxury to take your time and make the shot you want to make.
Right. And the reason that we take a headshot is it's just so quick and clean. It's just lights out.
Yeah.
With the lung shot, you've got more fight in them. 20, 30 seconds,
Yeah.
and they can hit the ground and take off running and go further down into these giant hollers.
Yeah.
So not that we don't shoot them in the lungs, if it's a longer shot or someone's not comfortable with the headshot, whatever it might be, then we will still take that shot because it's also a quick, clean death. But the headshot, in my opinion, is the best shot to take.
Yeah.
I wanted the skull, so it suited me fine.
Yep.
But took the shot. Bear dropped immediately. Mm-hmm. Everybody patted me on the back. It was important to me to get a good shot, so I was pretty nervous about that. And then we gutted the bear and drug it out.
Yep.
That was that.
That was it.
So
Aaron insisted on dragging it out himself. I must add that in.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was very nice. I was impressed with that. I respect Aaron already, but I respect him a little more now that he wanted to drag that thing out by himself. He didn't let anybody help.
Kirk wanted to roll out the red carpet for us. And so I think me and Casey, we didn't even talk about this, but we both we felt like it was worth working hard for this,
For sure. No, you all are both extremely appreciative and you wanted to use every part of the bear, from the fat to the heart to the liver to the you all just really, I could tell that it wasn't just about the kill for you all. You appreciate I guess me taking you on the hunt, and you appreciate the bear's life and everything involved.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a blast.
Yeah, dude, I legitimately, like, seriously, this isn't just like a little whim. Like I really want to get into it.
Awesome.
I really do.
Awesome.
I live in a state that's legal.
Yep.
I'm not geographically in a great place to do it, but I could get to a better geographic location to do it. You told me that you think I should get a Leica.
Yep. I think it would suit you. I think a Leica is the best thing to start with based off what I've seen. Like a hound is so much, you've got to have just all the stars have to align, like the group you hunt with, the amount of land it takes. Like I feel like with the Leica, I don't know how to describe it. There's more opportunity for you starting off, and
you think I could get up with some other packs? For
sure. Like my buddy Alex that I got Genghis from, I would love for you to go with him and experience it so you can understand what I'm saying. You hunted with hounds with a Leica involved, but you haven't hunted with just Leicas to see what I'm saying.
So a Leica's not a hound, huh?
Correct. I don't think they consider it a hound.
I mean, it's what, Spitz type, I guess?
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is.
What is it? Spitz type?
Spitz
with a Z on the end.
Yep.
That's like a genus or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a Norwegian, Icelandic type of.
Like a sled dog would be in that kind of thing too. Some of those sled dogs.
Yeah, curly tailed, prick ears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those Asian dogs, the real mean ones too, right? What are they?
No, what, Jindos or whatever, or Akitas.
Akitas.
They look like a Spitz type. I don't know if they are though. I don't know. They actually, Akitas, I think, were supposed to be Japanese bear dogs.
Really?
Yeah. No,
I don't know anything about them.
That's why they're so nasty. They're not nice. They have a reputation for being not nice.
Oh. So what are you thinking's next for you, Kirk? Season's
Mountain
just
lion.
about over.
Mountain lion.
And when are you going to do that?
Sometime in January or February, maybe even into March.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. No
You've
plans.
already done it, though. We know that you've already done it.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to go again?
Yeah. We just go every year.
The dogs.
You say we, do you go with someone else?
Yeah, with Trace and Chad primarily.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
They're the nicest guys ever, those guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have I can't say enough good things about the guys I hunt with. I mean, it's the community aspect of it is my favorite part.
100%. Yeah, they're just great guys, all helping each other out. It just seems like you're like family, basically.
Good community.
Yeah, you can tell it's all genuine. Just genuine, good fun.
100%.
Well, we were happy to be part of it. And it's getting late. So unless anybody's got any burning questions or statements they want to make,
nope,
I think we can call it.
Yeah, we're all tired.
Yeah, I've yawned 45 times.
Yeah.
It's been a long couple of days, but an awesome couple of days. And we've said it a million times, but we just want to thank you sincerely for the opportunity.
No problem.
And I hope the invitation is extended again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every year you all want to come. I mean, I'm happy to have you.
Oh, don't say that, dude. I'm gonna clear my schedule every year.
One time.
Yeah.
One time every year.
One time every year. Yeah.
And like I said just a few minutes ago, I really do. I like taking people that really appreciate it, and I can tell that you all do.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, nobody appreciates more than us, I don't think. I mean, we were real excited. We felt real serious about it, and we didn't take it like lightly, you know. Aaron, I think, shed a little tear there when, he took his bear.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
I was very stoic.
Yeah.
He looked like he was trying to not cry. That's what he looked like.
I will say this, going back to mine is, I know we're trying to wrap it up, but buck fever. Uh-huh. I was like, dude, what the hell, man? Is there going to be bear fever?
Right.
But I was pretty, I was happy about happy with myself. I got up there and I was
pretty calm.
Yeah, I was pretty calm about the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's good. It was great.
That is. Because you don't know how you're going to react.
No, you don't. Yeah, that's like life. It's like we like to fantasize about being John Wick or something like that in a crazy situation, but we don't know.
Yep.
We might crap our pants and start crying.
Right.
Unless we've been in that situation, we don't know.
Until you're there. You don't know.
On that same note, this is my last question. Do you think you could kill a bear with a knife by yourself? After dealing with
do I have hounds?
Maybe you can have like two of your best hounds with you. And they're in there with it, and it's like, and you're tangled up with it. What do you think?
I mean, depends on the situation, but it might be biting me. But if I can get one tight to that shoulder there and just plug it in the heart, I think I could.
Yeah. I'll say this: you're very comfortable around bears.
I am, yeah. Too comfortable sometimes.
I think you'd walk in there with a healthy bear that hasn't been touched by anything and, just be perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the other hunt that we were part of, and Kirk's an assassin. That way.
He is super comfortable around bears.
He's lethal.
Yeah. I mean, it's just being around them a lot.
Yeah. You got a good idea what to expect from them.
Right. Yeah. They're not as, I guess, it depends on the situation, but I'm just able to stay calm in the situation and do what's necessary.
I think you need a pet bear.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be wild?
It would be. I don't think my dogs would put up with that though.
Yeah. No way.
Offsite.
Maybe a panda bear.
Yeah. It would definitely have to be offsite.
Yeah. That'd be some content. Wouldn't it?
Great stuff. Awesome.
All
Kirk,
right. Thanks again.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So I didn't get to publicly thank you. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Seriously. And my wife is thanking you because she wanted to meet